Buried in stacks of forms, she was invisible to everyone, until her voice over the radio guided the unit out of an ambush they never saw coming. The mortars hit like thunder, ripping through the forward operating base as insurgent fire erupted from 3 directions. Sergeant Lisa, Oracle, Chun had 47 seconds to coordinate evacuation of wounded soldiers before enemy overrun became inevitable. Bullets shredded the radio tent, explosions shook the compound, and death closed in from every angle. But she had done the impossible. She had saved them all. 8 months later, that same woman sat hunched over requisition forms in a windowless supply office at Fort Campbell, her fingers moving across inventory spreadsheets as fluorescent lights hummed overhead. At 5 feet 3 inches with black hair pulled into a regulation bun and dark eyes hidden behind thick-rimmed glasses, she processed supply requests with the mechanical precision of someone who had found refuge in the predictable world of logistics and paperwork. Her hands typed equipment orders with the same intensity she once reserved for tactical communications. She navigated between file cabinets with practiced efficiency, and she maintained the kind of administrative invisibility that made infantry soldiers, officers, and NCOs walk past her desk without acknowledgement. But Staff Sergeant Rodriguez, dropping off ammunition requisitions, had noticed something unsettling about her workspace organization. Maps covered in colored pins that tracked unit movements across multiple training areas. Radio frequencies written on sticky notes attached to her computer monitor. And sometimes, during large-scale training exercises, he caught her listening to tactical communications while processing supply orders, her expression suggesting she was tracking something far more complex than inventory management. The infantry units knew her only as part of the base's administrative machinery. Supply, when they needed equipment requests processed, the clerk, when discussing logistics among themselves, or simply ignored entirely when real soldiers were discussing combat training and operational planning. None of these airborne infantry, special forces, and ranger units had any reason to investigate the background of someone who clearly belonged to rear echelon support and posed no relevance to their tactical training and combat preparation. Sergeant Chin's supply routine reinforced every assumption about her administrative role. She arrived before dawn to process overnight requisitions, systematically tracked equipment distribution across multiple training units, positioned herself in her supply office where she could monitor radio traffic without disrupting operations, and maintain the kind of efficient support that kept training exercises supplied while remaining permanently invisible to combat personnel. Her behavior was completely appropriate for logistics work. Her presence was utterly unremarkable, and her administrative appearance was so convincing that even military police conducting security rounds gave her no more attention than any other support staff. Captain Williams, coordinating training logistics for upcoming exercises, had observed something peculiar about the supply clerk's requisition patterns. She wasn't just processing equipment requests randomly. She was tracking which units requested specific items and cross-referencing those requests with training schedules and operational areas. Her supply management seemed to involve tactical analysis that went far beyond normal logistics responsibilities. Lieutenant Thompson, picking up radio equipment for his platoon, had caught something odd during his supply visits. The clerk wasn't just distributing communications gear. She was asking detailed questions about frequency assignments, operational areas, and communication protocols that suggested familiarity with tactical communications and battlefield coordination. Her knowledge of radio procedures seemed to exceed most infantry soldiers' understanding. Welcome to Silent Salute, where we discover that the most crucial victories often come from the most unexpected sources. Before we reveal this incredible story of hidden tactical genius, tell us in the comments which country you're watching from today. And if you believe that the greatest strategic minds sometimes work behind desks instead of command posts, hit that subscribe button to support our mission. We're honored to share these extraordinary stories of concealed brilliance with you. The 82nd Airborne Division's major training exercise was scheduled for 0600 hours, bringing together multiple infantry units, special forces teams, and support elements for a complex multi-day operation designed to simulate real-world combat scenarios in challenging terrain. The exercise represented months of planning and would test every aspect of unit coordination, tactical communication, and battlefield decision-making that prepared soldiers for deployment to active combat zones. Sergeant Chin drew her usual assignment for the exercise support, communications equipment distribution, radio frequency coordination, and supply logistics that kept training units equipped and operational throughout the multi-day exercise. Her role was exactly what it had always been: ensure seamless equipment support for combat units, while maintaining efficient supply operations from her administrative office. Among the exercise's most challenging scenarios was Operation Thunderstrike, a complex mission where Alpha Company would conduct patrol operations in heavily wooded terrain, while Bravo Company established overwatch positions, and Charlie Company maintained rapid response capability. The exercise was designed to test unit coordination under communication challenges and tactical decision-making when traditional command structures were stressed by simulated combat conditions. As the exercise commenced at dawn, multiple infantry units moved into their assigned operational areas while Sergeant Chin established her supply coordination center in the base operations building. Her responsibilities included monitoring equipment status, processing real-time supply requests, and maintaining communications support that allowed training units to focus on tactical objectives. First Lieutenant Marcus Steele Davis commanded Alpha Company as they moved through dense woodland terrain toward their first objective, a simulated enemy position that required coordinated assault with precision timing and tactical communication. His unit included 36 airborne infantry soldiers with extensive combat experience and advanced tactical training. Staff Sergeant Jennifer Hawk Morrison led Bravo Company's Overwatch element, positioning her marksmen and support weapons teams on elevated terrain that provided observation and fire support for Alpha Company's assault operations. Her team included the division's most experienced snipers and machine gun crews. Captain Robert Thunder Jackson coordinated overall exercise operations from the Tactical Operations Center, monitoring multiple unit movements while maintaining communication with higher headquarters and exercise controllers who evaluated performance and safety throughout the training scenario. The morning phase proceeded according to plan, with units establishing positions and conducting initial tactical movements while exercise controllers monitored progress and communications. Chun maintained her supply coordination activities, processing equipment requests, and monitoring radio traffic to ensure training units remained properly supported. But at 1,347 hours, Chun noticed something in the radio communications that made her tactical analysis instincts activate like silent alarms throughout her consciousness. Alpha Company's movement reports weren't matching the tactical timelines that should characterize their assigned operational objectives. Their position updates suggested they were being channeled into terrain that would create tactical disadvantages rather than supporting their mission success. Her observation was professional and automatic, the kind of tactical pattern recognition that came from extensive experience analyzing battlefield communications and enemy tactical behavior. But nothing in her supply clerk appearance suggested that she possessed capabilities for strategic analysis or tactical assessment beyond basic logistics support. Chun continued processing supply requests while maintaining focused attention on tactical communications from all exercise units. Her years of battlefield experience had taught her to recognize tactical patterns that indicated developing problems with mission execution or enemy contact situations. The radio traffic from exercise controllers and opposing forces was revealing tactical information that suggested Alpha Company was walking into a carefully planned ambush scenario designed to test their ability to respond to unexpected enemy contact under disadvantageous conditions. At 1,352 hours, Chun realized that Alpha Company's current movement pattern was leading them directly into a kill zone, where opposing forces had established interlocking fields of fire, concealed positions, and coordinated ambush tactics that would result in simulated casualties that could devastate the unit and fail the training objectives. The exercise controllers were monitoring the developing situation to ensure safety protocols were maintained, but the tactical scenario was designed to challenge Alpha Company's ability to recognize and respond to ambush indicators before they became trapped in an impossible tactical situation. Lieutenant Davis, leading Alpha Company through increasingly difficult terrain, was focused on immediate navigation challenges and hadn't recognized the tactical patterns that suggested his unit was being maneuvered into predetermined enemy positions designed to maximize simulated casualties and tactical disadvantage. Staff Sergeant Morrison's overwatch positions provided excellent observation of some terrain areas, but the heavily wooded environment limited her ability to provide early warning about enemy positions that had been carefully concealed in areas specifically chosen to avoid detection from traditional overwatch locations. Captain Jackson was monitoring overall exercise progress from the Tactical Operations Center, but his perspective focused on exercise administration and safety oversight rather than detailed tactical analysis of individual unit movements and enemy positioning that could indicate developing ambush situations. It was at this moment, with Alpha Company moving unknowingly toward a devastating ambush, tactical communications indicating imminent enemy contact, and training exercise protocols preventing traditional command intervention, that something extraordinary happened. The quiet supply clerk who had been processing requisition forms and monitoring radio traffic made a decision that would fundamentally change how everyone understood tactical analysis and battlefield awareness. Chun keyed her radio and transmitted directly to Alpha Company on their tactical frequency with calm authority that cut through routine communications like a laser through smoke. Alpha 6, this is Supply Base. Recommend immediate halt and tactical assessment of your current movement corridor. Pattern analysis indicates potential contact situation developing in your operational area. Lieutenant Davis's response revealed confusion about receiving tactical guidance from supply personnel who weren't part of the exercise command structure. Supply Base, this is Alpha 6. We're following a assigned movement plan and haven't received any tactical updates from exercise control. What specific intelligence are you referencing? Chen's response demonstrated tactical analysis capabilities that no one had expected from the quiet supply clerk who processed equipment requests and managed logistics paperwork. Alpha 6, your current movement pattern is being channeled through terrain that provides optimal ambush positions for opposing forces. Communication intercepts and movement analysis indicate coordinated enemy positioning in your projected route. Recommend immediate tactical pause and route reassessment. The transmission hit Alpha Company's tactical frequency like an artillery strike. The supply clerk who processed their equipment requests was providing tactical intelligence and battlefield analysis that exceeded the capabilities of most infantry officers and tactical coordinators. Staff Sergeant Morrison, monitoring communications from her overwatch position, transmitted with obvious confusion and growing interest. Supply Base, this is Bravo 7. Alpha 6, are you receiving tactical intelligence from supply personnel? What's the source of this battlefield analysis? Captain Jackson, monitoring exercise communications from the Tactical Operations Center, intervened with obvious concern about unauthorized communications and tactical guidance from personnel outside the exercise command structure. All stations, this is Thunder Base. Supply Base, identify yourself and explain your authority for transmitting tactical guidance to combat units during training exercises. Chen's response revealed information that would fundamentally change how everyone understood her background and capabilities for tactical analysis and battlefield coordination. Thunder Base, this is Sergeant Chun, Supply Coordination. I'm providing tactical analysis based on communication patterns and movement data that indicates Alpha Company is approaching coordinated ambush positions. Recommend immediate tactical assessment to prevent simulated casualties. Lieutenant Davis, whose unit was still moving through terrain that appeared tactically sound from his ground-level perspective, made a command decision to halt his unit and conduct the tactical assessment that Chun had recommended. Alpha Company, tactical halt. Conduct immediate area security and terrain assessment. Bravo 7. Can you confirm any indicators from your overwatch positions? Morrison's response revealed that her elevated observation positions were beginning to confirm the tactical patterns that Chun had identified through communication analysis and movement tracking. Alpha 6, Bravo 7. We're observing movement in woodland areas that could indicate positioned personnel. Recommend enhanced tactical awareness and possible route modification. But what Chin said next revealed the true extent of her tactical analysis capabilities and battlefield awareness that had been hidden behind supply clerk responsibilities. Alpha 6, based on communication intercepts and tactical pattern analysis, Opposing forces have established coordinated positions in woodland areas approximately 400 meters northeast of your current location. Their positioning suggests ambush tactics designed to channel your movement into interlocking fields of fire. The tactical precision and battlefield analysis demonstrated in Chin's transmission exceeded the capabilities of most combat intelligence specialists and tactical coordinators. Her ability to analyze multiple information sources and provide actionable tactical intelligence suggested extensive experience with battlefield communications and enemy tactical analysis. Captain Jackson, who had been monitoring the developing situation from the Tactical Operations Center, made a command decision to investigate Chin's tactical warnings and verify the intelligence she was providing to combat units. All stations, this is Thunder Base. Exercise controllers, can you confirm tactical positioning in Alpha Company's operational area? Supply Base, report to Tactical Operations Center for immediate debrief on intelligence sources and analytical capabilities. The exercise controller's response confirmed that Chin's tactical analysis had been completely accurate and had prevented Alpha Company from walking into an ambush scenario that would have resulted in simulated destruction of the entire unit. Thunder Base, this is exercise control. Opposing forces confirm coordinated ambush positions in woodland area northeast of Alpha Company's location. Supply Base's tactical analysis was accurate and prevented significant simulated casualties during training scenario. The radio transmission hit the exercise frequency like a thermobaric explosion. The quiet supply clerk who processed equipment requests had just demonstrated tactical intelligence capabilities that had saved an entire infantry company from devastating simulated casualties during training exercise. When Chin arrived at the Tactical Operations Center for debriefing, Captain Jackson's questions revealed the depth of tactical expertise that had been hidden behind administrative duties and supply coordination responsibilities. Sergeant Chun, Jackson said with obvious respect and amazement, your tactical analysis and battlefield assessment capabilities exceeded those of our intelligence specialists and tactical coordinators. What's your background in tactical communications and battlefield analysis? Chin's response provided insight into military experience that most supply personnel never encountered. Captain, my previous assignments involved tactical communications coordination for special operations units where battlefield analysis and enemy pattern recognition were essential for mission success and personnel survival. Lieutenant Davis, whose unit had been saved from devastating ambush by Chin's tactical warning, approached with obvious gratitude and growing respect for capabilities he had never suspected existed in the supply office. Sergeant Chun, your tactical intelligence prevented my unit from walking into an ambush that would have destroyed us during training. Your pattern recognition and communication analysis were unlike anything I've encountered from intelligence personnel. Staff Sergeant Morrison, whose Overwatch positions had confirmed Chin's tactical assessment, was beginning to understand that the supply clerk possessed battlefield awareness that exceeded most combat personnel's capabilities. Sergeant, your ability to analyze multiple information sources and provide actionable tactical intelligence suggests extensive experience with battlefield communications and enemy tactical analysis. Where did you develop those analytical capabilities? Chin's answer revealed the complexity of her military background and the specialized training that had prepared her for tactical analysis under combat conditions. My previous assignments involved providing tactical communications support for special operations units operating in denied territory where traditional intelligence support wasn't available and communications personnel had to function as both technical specialists and tactical analysts. Captain Jackson was beginning to understand that Chin's tactical intervention represented capabilities far beyond normal military communications or supply coordination training. Sergeant Chun, Jackson said, your tactical analysis during this exercise demonstrated strategic thinking and battlefield awareness that suggest command-level training and operational experience. What specific missions required that level of tactical analytical capability? Chin's response revealed military experience that most personnel never encountered and explained the extraordinary tactical awareness she had demonstrated during the training exercise. Captain, my previous assignments involved coordinating tactical communications for special operations missions where communication analysis was used to predict enemy movements and prevent ambush situations. The analytical techniques were developed through operational experience in environments where tactical mistakes resulted in American casualties. Over the following weeks, Sergeant Chin transitioned from her therapeutic supply assignment to graduated participation in tactical intelligence analysis and communications coordination programs designed for personnel recovering from operational stress while contributing specialized capabilities to training and operational readiness. What Sergeant Chin demonstrated, Captain Jackson explained to division leadership, is tactical analytical expertise that has been tested under the most challenging operational conditions. Her communication analysis and pattern recognition capabilities can enhance training realism while supporting her transition from operational stress to continued military service. Chun worked with intelligence specialists and tactical coordinators to develop training scenarios that integrated communication analysis with battlefield awareness techniques that prepared infantry units for the tactical challenges they would face during actual combat deployments. The operations I've been involved in, Chun explained to the tactical training staff, taught me that effective battlefield communication requires understanding that enemy forces use predictable tactical patterns that can be identified through careful analysis of movement and communication data. Her training programs emphasize tactical pattern recognition, communication analysis techniques, and battlefield awareness capabilities that allowed combat units to recognize and respond to enemy tactical approaches before they developed into crisis situations. Lieutenant Davis, whose unit had been saved by Chin's tactical intervention, became one of her most dedicated advocates for enhanced tactical intelligence training. Sergeant Chun, your analytical approach to battlefield communications has completely changed how my unit thinks about tactical awareness. You've shown us that the most important intelligence often comes from careful analysis of information that seems routine. The tactical intelligence techniques that Sergeant Chin developed were eventually adopted throughout the 82nd Airborne Division's training programs, establishing new standards for communication analysis and battlefield awareness that enhanced unit effectiveness and survival capabilities. Her methods influenced military tactical training worldwide and improved the tactical preparedness of infantry units globally. But perhaps Chin's greatest contribution was demonstrating that true tactical excellence often requires integration of specialized analytical capabilities with the humility to serve in whatever capacity best supports unit effectiveness and personal recovery from operational stress. The story of Sergeant Oracle Chin became legendary at Fort Campbell, shared with new personnel as an example of how extraordinary tactical capabilities often hide behind administrative assignments and recovery processes. Her example reminded combat personnel that the most valuable analytical capabilities are often possessed by people whose true expertise remains concealed while they heal from the psychological costs of providing life-saving intelligence under impossible conditions. The most important lesson you can learn here, Jackson would tell new infantry officers, is that exceptional tactical intelligence often comes from unexpected sources. The person processing your supply requests might be someone who's prevented more ambushes and saved more lives through analytical expertise than anyone you'll ever meet. The supply assignment had provided Chun with the therapeutic environment needed to process combat stress while maintaining connection to military service through logistics support. Her gradual transition back to tactical intelligence demonstrated that recovery from operational stress was possible while honoring previous accomplishments and continuing contributions to unit effectiveness and soldier survival. Years later, when Sergeant Chun transitioned to full tactical intelligence analysis specializing in communication interception and enemy pattern recognition, her legacy lived on in the analytical training programs she developed and in the understanding that true tactical excellence often requires acknowledging when intelligence specialists need time to heal from the psychological costs of their analytical expertise. Her story reminded everyone that in military intelligence, as in all military service, the most dangerous assumptions are those we make about people based on their current assignment rather than their proven performance under fire. Because the most exceptional analytical capabilities are often possessed by those who choose to hide their extraordinary intelligence expertise while recovering from the psychological wounds that come from preventing disasters through careful analysis under impossible conditions. The moment when Chin's voice had guided Alpha Company away from the ambush had lasted only minutes, but its impact continued for years, reminding everyone that extraordinary tactical intelligence often hides behind the most administrative assignments, and that the people performing the simplest tasks may be the ones with the most complex capabilities for saving lives through analytical brilliance. This story was brought to you by Silent Salute. Before we leave you today, here's our question. Have you ever discovered that someone you knew in an administrative or support role actually possessed extraordinary analytical or tactical capabilities that they kept hidden while managing personal challenges? Have you encountered people whose routine work concealed remarkable strategic thinking and life-saving expertise? Tell us in the comments about the moments when you realized you'd been working alongside someone whose analytical capabilities exceeded your understanding. And if you believe that true tactical genius often operates quietly behind desks while healing from the costs of their brilliance, hit that subscribe button to support our channel. No one calls her just Supply anymore, not after she saved Alpha Company.